Hi there, and welcome to episode 4 of Keys to the Market, your favorite real estate podcast. And as always, we're your favorite real estate team. My name's Eric, and I'm joined by my mom, Kathy.
Hi.
And my brother, Ryan. Together, we make up the Lime Cooler Group, a real estate team specializing in the Orange County, California real estate market. Today, we're going to continue with that same series we started on our last podcast, where we were telling about the process that sellers go through when they're going to list their house. Last time we talked about the listing presentation. Today we're going to go into a little bit about how you prepare your house for the market and all of that. But first, let's start off with kind of what we're seeing on the current market, the different trends that we're seeing, kind of what's going on out there. So do you guys have anything you've been...
I've noticed that houses are sitting on the market a lot longer than we were used to during the summertime. It seems it happened kind of rapidly, how much they've slowed.
I think some of it was just the buyers. The buyers are tired of the prices going up and interest rates going up, and I think that they were busy now with their kids getting ready for school or taking the end vacations or getting ready for a new season in the job market, and just kind of stopped. And homes kept coming on, and the buyers were getting less. So I think it has slowed the market. And
we are filming on Wednesday the 18th, and today is the day that the Fed actually just cut the federal funds interest rate. I mean, we've spoken about this a couple times, that the interest rate that the Fed cuts is not the exact same thing as the mortgage rate, but they do still play together, and it does change buyer beliefs and buyer perception of the markets. I don't know if you guys want to...
I got to believe that the buyers are going to be a little bit excited. Like everybody was saying, 0.25%. They lowered it 0.5%, which means to me that they're trying to help the consumer, whatever the consumer's a part of, that they're trying to help the consumer. And I think this is going to get people back engaged. Would you agree with that?
That would be great, because it would be great to have the buyers come in to match kind of the extra inventory that we're seeing on the selling side now. So.
Yes.
The interesting thing in it, because we've mentioned, is that the interest rate the Fed does is not the same as the exact mortgage rate. Actually, the mortgage rate has fallen in the past couple weeks, months, and buyers haven't really entirely noticed that because they've been waiting for the Fed to reduce its interest rate. So while they don't perfectly match, it's probably going to lead more buyers to go and talk to a lender and realize that the interest rates are not at that 7-8% that they think they were. They're closer down to that 6, even high 5s if you on a good day.
So maybe you just have a better feeling.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's more positive, right?
And we're about to enter into the fall market, which you mentioned on our last podcast is a pretty good time to buy and sell.
Yes, exactly.
So awesome. So like I said, we're going to start going into the next part of the series, kind of the next part of what you do as a seller if you're going to try to list your house. First of all, you would go and have listing presentations, whether it's with one agent or multiple agents, and you would essentially sign a contract with that listing agent. You would say that you are going to work with them and they are going to be the one to list your house. Now we're going into the next part of it, where the listing agent is going to help you get your house prepared for the market. We're going to stage it, take photography, talk about marketing and all of that type of stuff. Everything from the time you sign that contract to when it actually goes live on the market. So I think Ryan has a couple questions, and we're going to get started on those.
I just wanted to say first, before you go into that, Ryan, that anybody that has literally sat in a listing appointment, signed a listing contract with us, has gone through these steps. We are very organized in the steps and how we do it, because we know that it actually brings the highest possible price for a home. So go ahead, Ryan.
So I was just going to get into it just to say, we did it. We got the listing contract.
Yay!
You made the right choice.
And you did it.
Yes.
I've said that to so many people.
You made the right choice. You chose us.
So why is it the right choice, right? This is why we're gonna show you our value on this side. So why is the preparation of your home so key before you actually list it on the market?
So real estate has changed. We say this a lot, but I think it's actually the HGTV shows that kind of messed up real estate or made it better, depending. Yeah. But real estate used to be the type of thing where you would someone would take a picture of the front of your house. They would throw it into. They used to actually have physical books
Yeah.
that they would see the houses, and then an agent would take you around. That's not the way real estate is sold anymore. Pretty much, I'm going to say over 90% of real estate decisions are essentially made online. And
Yes.
people expect the houses to either look like the HGTV shows where they've been flipped and made perfect, or to look like a model house.
Yes.
And as a listing agent, our job is to get your house essentially to look as close to that as we can. We're going to talk about staging and all of that and everything, and kind of what all of that does and everything. But the biggest thing is that you need people that are looking at it. People think it's fun to look on Zillow nowadays. You need people to see your house online and stop. The pictures are beautiful. The inside is beautiful. When they actually come and see the house, it doesn't let them down. All of that. That also goes into marketing, because we have to get it in front of people. If people, no one sees your house, then obviously it's not going to sell.
Piggybacking on what you're saying is, if there are issues in your house and if the buyer can see the issues before they even get into your house, they're already deducting prices off your listing price of your house. So and I keep going back to this. This is your biggest investment. A home is usually someone's biggest investment. And just like before you get married, or before you graduate from college, or before you go on an outing, or before you go on a job interview, you primp yourself. You try to look the best that you can possibly look. And it's the same thing with this. You're getting your house to look the best it can possibly look, so that when people come in, they're excited about the opportunity for themselves.
Or so that people come in general. I mean, if your house doesn't look very good online, or you're taking pictures on an old cell phone and you're just throwing them on there, that's going to detract certain buyers from going to the house in general, just because it doesn't appear to be a nice enough house for them to live in.
And Ryan and Eric and I all have the cutest dog in the world, but in the picture of your house, it's not what you want to have. You want to show this space. People keep thinking that they want to show other things, but the space is what we're selling.
I think that's kind of the...
Yeah, we'll get in there. But before we even go into the photography, we have to make sure the house is ready to be photographed. So that word is staging that we're talking about. You might have heard that before. But I've seen staging take on different roles in a sale. So to you, what is staging, and how does it actually help the home sell faster?
So that's a great point. There are multiple types of staging. Essentially, big umbrella idea. Staging is getting your actual house, the physical house itself, ready for the market. That can take different forms. It can be decluttering your house. It can be moving items around in your house to make certain things look better. It can be bringing in certain things such as like accessories and whatnot, or it can mean, if it's a vacant house, bringing in entire furniture for rooms, or removing furniture of people's that are living in the house and bringing in entire furniture, whether it be in every room or specific rooms or whatnot. The biggest thing with staging is it's trying to get the buyer to see themselves living in the house. Living in your house is a lot different than selling your house.
100%.
When you live in your house, you put pictures of your family on the wall. You don't clean every single thing. You put cool things that you've gone on vacations and brought home, colorful things. People paint their walls, all of that. When you're selling, you want people to be able to envision themselves in the home. So a lot of the time that means that we're going a bit more neutral with colors, with things. We're going to always ask people to take down family photos and whatnot. We're going to take down college sports teams, professional sports teams, degrees you have from schools and whatnot, because you need the buyer to see themselves living in the house, not that they are coming into your house.
And it's hard to believe that some things distract a buyer, but they do. I think what I always say to people when we go in the house, we're selling your space. We're selling the size of your room. We're selling the quality of your floor. We're selling your countertops. And oftentimes we live with them covered and cluttered. And we're trying to remove that. And sometimes your furniture may be very
Specific.
or even a time sensitive, like it's an
Like
older
dated.
furniture or dated or just not as neutral.
Or specific, or even a specific style.
Yes, like some people love antiques, and I can say I love antiques, but it's not. We're going to change a little bit what it sells. Not everybody, but and we do whatever the seller wants. But we are going to try to help you get your house ready so that when we see pictures of it, we know that this is going to bring the buyer engaged in what they're about to see, and that they want to come see the home. The best thing that we hear is when a buyer walks into a home and says, I love this home. It is exactly what I pictured. Because that means we did the right job.
The ultimate form of staging is like for professional athletes or really big celebrities and whatnot, when they're buying multi-million-dollar houses, they actually sometimes stage the house for that person in specific that is coming. That's more when you're talking about like a $30 million house when there's only 3 people that are.
We'd be happy to do that for you too. For the $30 million.
But essentially, you're trying to in that form, you're trying to get the person to envision themselves in your house. On the $1 million, $2 million range, that is getting more of the masses to be able to envision themselves in the house.
Yeah.
And I can speak to our specific group and our stagers in that almost every time we show a house, every time we have an open house, we always get compliments on how well staged the house is. Just this last weekend, almost half the people that walked in just talked about how great the staging was. Some people even want to take the furniture from the house. So that's always a good sign when you're...
You get that question.
Is when the sellers, when we stage their house, they'll say, I always wondered how to make that room look better. That looks perfect.
So once the staging is in, the next step is our professional photographers come in. So why not just, iPhones are pretty nice these days.
Yes.
Like, what's the difference?
You're the best photographer.
I am. I'm a good, I do it as a hobby, but I'm a good photographer.
This podcast right now is being filmed on the iPhone.
Yeah. So what's the big deal about why can't I just take my phone and take some pictures on it and throw them on the MLS? I see it all the time.
It's funny. I'm going to say something that we do.
You shouldn't see it all the time. That's not a good thing.
It's funny, but when we see it, we think we might want to circle back to that house because when it doesn't sell, they're going to need us. But I remember in the very beginning, the photography group that we have, we've been with them for a really long time because they're so excellent at what they do. But I remember you talking about the photographer and how it just made more sense to me. I don't know how many pictures of the same room does he shoot, and he puzzles them together to get the best lighting in every corner of the room to get the best possible picture. Right? So you can't do that. I guess you could, but how many people love doing 1,000-piece puzzles? He's got to do it for every single picture to make it happen. And why do we get pictures of twilight? Even if there's not a view, we get pictures of twilight. Why? Because the house looks better in that light, and we can make it. We're just trying to show the best we can of your house. What else would you say about the photography?
With photography, it's kind of like I was saying a little bit earlier, is the decision to come to the house at all is made online. And I think everyone knows what I'm saying when you're scrolling through, whether it be Instagram or TikTok or whatever social media it is, there has to be something to catch your eye. And a picture on your iPhone is not going to do that. That's why it's so important for these pictures. These pictures, like she's saying, these pictures are not, they're taken on professional cameras. They are taken with specific lighting. They are pieced together to look better than they ever could.
Yeah.
We don't want the picture, we don't ever want the house to not look like it does in person, but we want it to look the best it possibly can, because people have to be drawn in. They have to see the house and immediately look to the next picture. We want the people to look at the second and third and fourth pictures on the house rather than just the first one and scroll to the next.
Ryan, you were saying before, I remember when we were talking to somebody in one of the open houses, that you love the virtual tour that we do of the house, because people can actually, you were saying something about when they're there, it's quick, but they can go home and walk through the house, or you've shown the house to your family and measure the house. Talk a little bit about that.
I just think, like, if you're an introverted person at all, it's hard sometimes to come into an open house or even a showing where you feel like someone's looking over your shoulder and there's a lot of people around and you just don't feel as comfortable just hanging out in the space. And I think the virtual tour allows people to, either before they go into the home, to kind of map out their journey through the house.
How they're going to run away.
Or they can go back afterwards and say, oh, I wanted to look and see if our couch would fit in the living room.
Yeah,
I mean, to be able to measure it out online is such a nice way to do things without feeling like you have to invest in going back for a showing or having people looking over your shoulder. So I just think it gives people a chance to, like, see the house without having to worry about anybody seeing them see the house.
So a couple things with that. I mean, what we're talking about, the big idea we're talking about right now is photography, but in terms of that photography, we're actually talking about a lot of media that we have. So when we get the house ready and prepared and take the photography and everything, it's photos, it's drone photos, it's twilight photos, it's a virtual tour, sometimes it's a video of the house, we're going to talk about the marketing and everything, but it's websites, it's all of that does the things. Like you said, the virtual tour actually it's been around for a while, but the biggest time it came to a big part of the real estate industry was during COVID, because we were actually selling houses online. People were viewing the house entirely online. So kind of like you're saying, if you're introverted, you can almost pretend that you never even had to go into the house. Another cool thing, if you have a VR headset, you actually can walk through the house in a virtual tour. Just saying. You can put it on a VR headset and actually walk through the house, which is really cool. But
you didn't mention it, but even the floor plans, we put the floor plans in on the home, and we've had appraisers thank us because we've made the job easier, because we want the appraiser to get to the value that we sell the house at. We use it in every single aspect of the transaction to help you get the highest value for your home.
We mentioned it on a previous one, but our job is to leave no stone unturned. And our job, especially in this type of thing, like, that's why when we talk about it all, like, that's why this is actually so important to us.
Yeah.
Because if you jump off to the wrong foot, it's really hard to get it right. It's so getting the house prepared, staging, taking the right photography, and having this robust package of every type of media that we can show people, whether you want to look at it in your house in person, whether you want to look at a floor plan, whether you want to measure this, whether you want to do that. It's our job to make sure every single thing is for whatever type of buyer there is.
Right.
All right. So you got me sold on photography.
We're not photographers, though. So.
I am going to take some pictures on my iPhone just to check. So how do you build an effective marketing plan for your home?
This is really important, because I say this when we had our listing presentation together before you signed the contract, and then probably again when we signed your contract. It is what you're hiring. You're hiring a marketing team with incredible real estate knowledge. That's pretty much what it is. And so it's funny, because now I always knew what the things were that I wanted to do, but now with this top team of technical guys with me, they show it. They show it. We take your home that we've decluttered, that we brought a stager in and made beautiful, take phenomenal pictures of, done Matterports, possibly done videos, done twilight showings, and now we take all of that information, and these two help me send it out to the world. And I'm going to let both of you talk about how we send it out. I know how to put it in the MLS. I know how to speak about it when I'm in the home, but you guys send it out to the masses. How do you do that?
So that's important, and I think that's kind of the first place to start. Is every real estate agent that you're going to talk to is going to put the house on the MLS. MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service.
Right.
It's where the houses go.
Where the agents go.
Where the agents go to find houses, and all of the information that you're seeing on Zillow, Redfin, any of the online sites is pulling that information from the MLS.
Right.
So all of those photos we're talking about, the virtual tours, all of that, the description, everything we're doing there is coming from the MLS. So truly, the MLS is the major hub of everything. It's one of the most important things. So making sure that that's right is half the battle.
Yeah.
But then there's that next battle of making sure it gets out to agents, buyers, investors, people who live down the street that might want their mom to live down the street from them, or their
people
cousin,
with
or
interests that the neighborhood or the community has,
Yes.
right? Like different neighborhoods and different communities are horse communities or larger lots or just different kinds of things, or it's a live where you work, that kind of community. So we try to pick the people that will be living in the home to try to help it be out there.
So the thing with that is that you have to get it everywhere. It's beginning with when it goes on the MLS, like I said, it syndicates to all those websites. That's important because when you just put it on the MLS, it only syndicates to certain websites.
Right.
We, being affiliated with First Team Real Estate, which we choose to affiliate with for their marketing capabilities, syndicates it to thousands of more websites. You mentioned that one time that there was a guy in Texas reading a magazine on his ranch that bought a house in Anaheim Hills.
Because we had
that has to do with syndication. That's making sure that the houses get to everywhere. Then we send out emails, we send out flyers. So emails go to agents in the area. You might think, why do we want to send it to other agents? Agents have clients.
They're the salespeople.
Agents have buyers. So we're trying to get in front of the buyers. The best way to get in front of the buyers is get in front of their agents.
All the companies out there. We send everyone.
To tell it within our own company.
Yeah.
And then we want to get in front of buyers as well. How do we get in front of buyers? We're going to send flyers out to out to people that live in the local areas. You'd think a lot of the time that your story of Texas is common. It's really the more common story is the person that lives in Anaheim Hills and wants to buy a house in Orange.
Yeah.
Or the person that's mom lives down the street and they want to buy a house there.
We've done a lot of that
They
lately.
grew up in the area, they moved to blah, blah, blah. Their parents still live in the area and now they want to move back. Yeah. That's a lot of it. So we will send out flyers to local areas to make sure everyone knows it there. And then we'll also do social media advertisements. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about social media.
Yeah, on social media, we just make sure that we're letting you know whenever a house is listed. We're showing them those great photos that we have, and it just gives another opportunity for a different demographic to be checking out what we're putting out there. So it's everywhere.
And then we'll also do what we mentioned last time too. We were talking about how we can have social media ads follow people around the internet. Our company will do the same thing. So we will put it on our social media. First Team will put it on their social media. We'll put it on our own individual social medias. We'll pay to boost the ads and we'll pay to make sure it goes in front of the right people. Again, we're leaving no stone unturned. But the biggest thing is we need to get in front of the right people at the right time.
We understand that it only takes one person to buy a house, but we're going to bring in as many as we can so that one person that buys it is the most qualified and the person that really wants the house and is willing to pay the highest value for your home. That's our job. That's what we're supposed to do.
Okay, so say you have me sold on all this stuff.
Oh, we're selling you a lot.
Yes, I'm pretty easy. What steps should sellers take to prepare their homes? Is it just you guys show up, you take care of it? What's my responsibility as a seller?
So yes, I mean at the core, yes, we will show up and kind of take care of it.
Even if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, we will take care of it.
We've gone all out.
That's not really the best answer here.
Rather do some of it.
I would rather
your dishes.
I would rather not be doing your dishes and putting away your laundry as a buyer is walking through the front door. It's probably a better experience for the buyer if I'm not, but we will. The biggest thing is that when we come in with the stager and the photography, we're going to be there the entire time. We're also going to be there for the showings and all of that. But you're going to see the house when we give you your photography. You're going to see the house in its most pristine and perfect condition because that's what we're trying to sell.
Right.
You're going to want to do whatever you can to try to keep it in that pristine and perfect condition as much as you can.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you can't live in the house? No, it doesn't mean that at all. We have people that live in their house with kids and you have to sleep in your house. You have to eat in your house. You're still living there. So that's obvious. But a big thing for us is when we show the houses or when we do all this stuff, we'll give you notice that it's going to be coming. But you're gonna want to try. You're gonna live a little bit differently because you're gonna try to keep your house clean. You're gonna do all of your dishes. If you don't do all of your dishes, you're gonna do it for at least a couple weeks. We're on the market. If you don't make your bed, you're gonna make your bed on the couple.
That's
weeks
a funny one because we have sellers who, after we've staged their home, will keep the pictures out of what their bed looks like so they know how to make it the right way. Or we have a seller now who his toaster oven is in the garage because it was large on the counter. And he says, I'm always never realized how much I use my toaster oven until I go to the garage for it.
So it is going to upend your life a little bit but that is once we take the photos and truly put it on the market. Yeah. It's going to be a couple weeks of that. But again, it's all that important thing of when that buyer walks in that house, it looks as pristine as it can. Yeah. It looks like those photos they saw online. The worst thing that we can have happen, even if it's a beautiful house, we never want the buyer to walk in the door and be like, oh, it looked nice online. Yeah. Yeah. But even if it's a beautiful house, you've started from behind. The buyers are thinking they were getting something, and now they're looking at every corner thinking that the wool's being pulled over their eyes.
Yeah. If we landscape the front of your house beautifully with flowers that really bring the curb appeal, just water them for us. Like
make sure your sprinklers go.
Yeah, either get your sprinklers or go out with the can to water them. Like we're putting your house in the best light and help us with that. That's kind of.
And honestly, the process can be pretty therapeutic.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds stressful to declutter, but we've had so many people that feel like, oh, I don't want to move out of my house now. It looks so nice. So I think it's kind of a catalyst for some people.
I remember one of our last clients when we redid the primary bedroom. We put on new bedspreads and we decluttered the primary bedroom. And I remember her saying to me, "This is zen now. Like we love this place." I feel like I live in a hotel.
All right. So what do sellers need to know about listing their home on the MLS? We talked a little bit about that, but go into it a little further. So
the MLS, again, like we said, is where all the information comes from. So the importance of the MLS can't really be overstated. No. It's really the 800-pound gorilla in the room. There's other stuff, but it needs to be dialed in. The pictures need to be ready, but it's not just pictures. On the MLS, it includes descriptions. It includes the virtual tour we're talking about. It includes different features that are put onto the house so that people, when they are searching for it, if someone were to search for a view, if we don't put that there's a view on the house. So when we do the MLS, we're going to write the description. We're going to make it look pretty. We're going to make everything sound great. We're going to put all these features in. We're going to say that there's a staircase and a view and a gas oven and a gas stove and all of that. Then we're going to show it to the seller to make sure everything we wrote was correct and that there's anything that we missed or whatnot. If we don't put that there is a gas stove on there. Yes, you can see it in pictures, so maybe that's not the best example. But
the view is a good example.
Let's just go there with a gas stove or a view. Sometimes people will go on Zillow or the agents will go on Redfin or on the MLS and search for houses in this price range in these cities with a view. If we didn't click that there's a view, their systems aren't that smart. They can't see the pictures. They're not going to show them that house. So that's really important to realize that every aspect of the listing is important. Every single aspect. And I guess to say too for us is like we take care to make sure every single thing is done correctly and promotes it as well as it can, because the worst thing that could happen is that one person that's looking for a view doesn't see our house, would have bought it in a second, but just because that one box wasn't clicked on the MLS, it doesn't get in front of them.
There's two things that what you're saying that we talk to a lot of sellers about, and the one is pricing. Like when you price, you have to realize that in the MLS, they pick a price range, like say $1 million to $1.05 million, and we're trying to get, just like stores. Why do you think you go in a store and it's not $25? It's $24.98 or $24.99 or $24.80. Why? Because it looks better. It gives the people, you always want to show a value. You want people to go into something feeling like, not that they're getting a deal, but there's value in the home that they're going into. Another thing that these two are phenomenal at, I'm not so good at, so you're lucky that I have them, is spelling.
And there's so many.
Spelling is very important and grammar is very important. But it is. And when people see it done incorrectly.
If you guys want a good real estate agent that can spell, give us a call.
We know how to use the technology of like our phone and we can spell.
They are both better writers and better spellers than I am. And so it does though. It's everything that
it's all important, because you're right. I mean, that's even something, I mean, it sounds dumb, but on all of our marketing, if something's spelled wrong, if there's not correct grammar, if there's not all of that, I'm a spelling and grammar, I don't know what the word is.
They're both nerdy on it.
So if someone sends me something in the mail and something doesn't have comma where it's supposed to, I'm going to laugh at it and throw it in the trash. And there's got to be
going to judge you if you say the wrong there.
See the one or two times that the two of these boys have made a mistake, man, it drives, they mock each other for weeks.
But you're correct in that ensuring that everything's accurate is important, because there are people out there that it's going to turn them off on the house because there is spelled
Well, it speaks to your professionalism, right? That you are second checking everything over and making sure everything is.
There's one more thing that I would say. Those things in your house that need to be repaired, that you have not repaired over the years, I'm going to say repair them and enjoy them.
Yeah.
Because if you don't repair them, an inspection's going to come and the buyer's going to make you repair them, or something that would cost $1,000, they're going to think would cost $5,000. They're going to ask you for $5,000. So just repair it, and then it helps the house even look better.
So that's like that's a common mistake that we see a lot of the time.
Yes.
With sellers, they won't fix something hoping with their fingers crossed that no one will notice. What are other common mistakes?
Overpricing is a huge mistake that people, I know what you want to get to, and tell your line, your college professor, what's the value of a home?
The true value of real estate.
What's the market value?
The true value of real estate is what a willing buyer and a willing seller agree on. There's no other value to it. If anything happens, it's what the seller and the buyer are willing to pay.
Right. So you're going to get there, but overpricing is really going to bring your price down. I know it sounds crazy, but I have a lot of years of experience, and overpricing is one of the biggest mistakes you can make.
Also, in terms of prep, I mean, I think the biggest mistakes we hear from people, and then I think a lot of the time, I mean, we see mistakes when we have a pulse on the market. We've talked about that a lot. We see houses that come on the market all the time. And the biggest mistakes, I think, agents don't tell their sellers, or sellers push back on agents, or all of that, is really not doing the things we've talked about today.
Yeah.
Houses that are not
important.
staged sell for lower. Houses that do not have professional photography sell for lower. Houses that are not priced right sell for lower. Houses that that have neglected repairs and haven't redone certain things, have their paint falling off the side of their house and it doesn't look good, sell for lower. It's all about preparation. Is really probably the biggest part of the entire, I mean, we're going to, in future episodes, we're going to talk about negotiation and all of that, and escrows and everything. And that's all very important. But I truly believe that if you don't have that preparation, that foundation to start on, you're not going to get buyers in. You're not going to sell the house for the right price. It's all going to fall down from there.
And the thing with that we do for you, I've said this to so many clients, they're probably sick of listening to me say it, is we do this every single day. Get on our backs. We'll carry you through it. We'll get the right people in your house to do the right things. You don't even have to do a thing. You don't pick up a finger, because we're going to be there to help you through it. Ask these guys. They've moved some furniture in their life, just trying to get things together so that we do the best for you.
It is a good point, though. we're not promoting that we're going to be your movers, but it is a good point, though, because I know a lot of the time people, when we have stagers come in or whatnot, there's a lot of furniture and there's a lot of things that need to be moved around. We're your partner through every part of this. Whether that means we've been on people's slopes putting mulch out. We've been in their garages helping them move around couches and whatnot. Yeah. It's it's important to us to support in every way that we can. And I think you're right, like jump on our backs and we'll help you get there. I guess going back to your question, one of the biggest mistakes people make is not trusting their real estate agent. Your most real estate agents know the correct things they should do, and if you don't trust them, that's where the pitfalls are.
Here's a little tidbit. You know what the number one thing that you can do for your house that's the cheapest thing you can do? Wash your windows. Get your windows professionally washed. It makes a house sparkle. There's my tip of the day.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I have.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else that you want to share?
Just that we make sure you need to thoroughly prepare your house for a sale, and you need to pick the right marketing team. We're sitting here, we're kind of, I'd pick us, but you need to pick the right marketing team for you so that everybody's going toward what they can do that's best for you, which is get the best value for your home.
Definitely. And so I think that kind of wraps up this episode. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway that we have is prepare your house for the market. I mean, that was kind of what our entire episode's about.
Yeah.
In future, next week, we're going to kind of talk about the next stage, when we actually put the house on the market, how showings go, what open houses look like, that whole part.
How we negotiate from the start on
of
that
actually getting people into the house to see it. Yeah. So if you have any questions, feel free to message us on any of our social media or send us an email.
I dare you to send us a question. I dare you.
You can send it to info@limecoolergroup.com. And that's pretty much all we've got. So we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Have a great day.